You know what? We're gonna simmer down with some quality Jubilee content, okay? Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this Jubilee video? Say, I don't think you are. I don't think you're ready for this. Yo, Rapscallion Queen, thank you for gifting $5. I've been Persuades. Yeah.
For man, one giant leap.
Ooh. Nah.
For mankind.
What do you think the shape of the Earth is?
I don't think. I know for a fact it's a globe.
The Earth is flat.
It's like we have this picture of reality that's a big puzzle piece, and then one of those pieces just wasn't
Creed!
fitting.
I'm
Thank
always
you so
open
much for the
to having a
$25
discussion with
dono.
someone who
Do you want me to draw anything on my body?
is holding a
Yo, lol 101. Thank you for the $6 dono. 6 uwo.
wrong belief like this.
Are you willing to change your mind on this?
I'm not. The evidence is so much.
Nobody wants to be a flat earther, but if you showed me incontrovertible evidence, I would definitely go back. Who wants the ridicule?
What are you hoping to get from the discussion with the other side?
I'd like to tear them to pieces.
Oh my gosh. You can't think of anything? I can do the pants emote, I guess.
I'm Jim Underdown, Executive Director of the Center for Inquiry West in Los Angeles and the Chair of the CFI Investigations Group.
I'm Spencer Marks, one of the senior members of the CFI Investigations Group, Science Advocate.
I'm Marina Yeri. I'm a theoretical physicist, and I'm with the University of Irvine.
I'm Wendell Walton. I'm a Chief Learning Officer for a young startup.
I'm Shelley Lewis. I'm a graduate of West Point, critical thinker, and jumped out of airplanes.
My name is Dan Glattman. I work as Dan the Waterman in the drinking water filtration industry, and I'm a truth seeker.
I get my flat earthers on the left and my globe earthers on the right.
Wait. Okay, how's this? Your little dude. Your little duder. Do you like your con your pants emote? Good night, lol 101 trans rights, and thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed your time here. We have a very cozy community. Squish me, mommy. Look, just because I was working out on stream earlier, alright?
Only step forward if this is true for you. I believe
Reggie Gangster, the proper terminology is a globehead. I am a proud globehead.
the earth was created by a higher power.
Well, I've been a Christian for 30 years, so the Bible is a flat earth book. You have to take it literally. Like, for example, in Isaiah, when it talks about how the earth is like a clay wax seal that's stamped with upturned edges, that's just not some fancy story. That's a simile. It is like.
Right, absolutely. And in Isaiah it talks about too, and I'm a Christian, he who sits upon the circle of the earth. There's a difference between a circle and a ball.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
If you look at the original Hebrew, it means disc. There's
Hell's finest gent. Thank you for the $6.66 for the dono. I really appreciate it. A circle is not a sphere.
scriptures in the Bible that point to a flat earth.
Oh no. Oh no.
So this notion that you need God or some higher power to create the earth or the universe is very old and was.
Hey, look, potato band plug. When Terry Goodkind's books get old enough, Discworld will be functionally as accurate, okay? Parkside Twan, thank you so much for the $25. Yo, Ryan, thank you so much for the $50 dono, and just as I need to look, because the message was on screen for so short a time. Sorry. For the good cause and in honor of a real sweet gal. Ryan, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. My dad might not see me as a girl, but I'm glad you all do. An M for Mario on your cheek. I can do that. Let's make sure. Okay. I can't do it if I look at my preview. And Ryan, if you're in chat, just let me know if you want me to draw anything. And again, thank you so much for your donos, both of you. Thank you so much. Hey, Ripshaft. Welcome back. A mommy dommy? Yeah, that's me. I'm homo, you're attractive, you're a girl in my eyes. Thank you so much. What's the mark on your forehead? Somebody wanted me to write nerd, and I tried, but it wasn't working when I tried it. Reggie Gangster, this is for you. Oh, mommy. Nice little freckles. That's so cute. I actually have freckles. I just need to be outside more and they show up. I don't think this marker wants me to make freckles. I tried. I tried. You spoil us? I don't spoil you. You guys are making donos for a good cause, and I committed to this, and I will see it through.
Initially posited by people of a pre-scientific age. Since then, we have learned quite a bit about the universe coming into existence, when that happened. Modern humans don't get their cosmology, they don't get their physics, they don't get their knowledge of the universe from the Bible or any ancient text.
It's sort of like the God of the gaps. Once, people used to believe that lightning was God's wrath and throwing these lightning bolts, but once we understood it was a natural process, God shrank a little bit more because now we couldn't attribute those lightning bolts to God. We had to attribute that to the real science. And the other thing, to the point about the Bible specifically for me, is why is that one particular text the correct one? You choose to believe that, and that's fine, but there's so many other writings and so many other books, so why weren't they correct? Why is just the Bible correct?
Well, what you'll find in a lot of these ancient religions is they're all flat earth religions.
Are they though? Are they though?
All their cosmology goes back to being a flat earth with an enclosed system. So it's not just the Bible that teaches this. It's many different religious.
But all of them are wrong because you can literally go around the earth.
Books.
So one problem I have is trying to explain phenomena happen in nature by holy books. Those are religious books. Those are not books of science. And it is wrong to infer or deduct scientific readings out of those books.
My name is Wendell. I am a logical, biblically based, and scientific flat earther. I didn't start out, and no one starts out as a flat earther, but I had a lot of questions. So I actually got to the point where I had to go out and put my own eyeballs on it. So we went out.
I tried to fly around the Earth and it just didn't work.
To an observation at Salton Sea, and things just didn't add up down there. So we've gone back probably a dozen times, and I can guarantee you that there is no curvature over distance.
The internet has played an important role in confirming my view of this topic.
That's the problem.
We have the advantage of information today that's outside of channels 2, 4, and 7 and the few networks that are corporately owned. It's pretty easy to say YouTube isn't research, but when you spend enough time, you're picking up quite a bit. And with the discussion groups, panels.
YouTube is just as good as scientific research, okay? Look, basically what I'm saying is if you watch YouTube videos, you become a scientist.
We've gone against opposition. We've opposed ourselves. Surprisingly enough, flat Earth is its own worst enemy. So it's not that easy for us to come to consensus. And we find that consensus is orchestrated and not actually scientific.
Hey honey, I came back from the beach. The world's flat now. Did you know I just discerned this truth? It's all been a scam, and the world's forces are conspiring to enforce our view of the world as round for some arbitrary reason. They don't want us to know it's flat. Clearly it's the lizard men. They've got to our highest levels of government. Like the... Oh gosh. Dan Olson actually did a really great video on flat earthers. I highly recommend you guys check it out. And plus, Dan is just a cool guy. I talked to him once about Final Fantasy IX for like 2 hours. It was great, and I embarrassed myself. It was a cringe. I was very cringe. I was just very excited to get to talk to him. Oh, sorry. And the global homo agenda. Fun fact, globes make us gay, flat makes us strong.
Consensus is orchestrated and not actually scientific in any way.
You know, my grandfather used to tell me growing up, never believe anything you read in the newspaper, right? He told that to me. Now, with the age of the internet, it's like, you know, how much of this misinformation are you getting there? And when you have like eyewitnesses taking video of something, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. That's why, because of my my multimedia.
Whoa, Clef, don't make me ban you. Final Fantasy IX is the best Final Fantasy.
Background, I knew that all that stuff could be faked. You know, take it into Photoshop, take it into After Effects.
Okay, this is at the core of the issue of why there are so many flat earth believers out there right now. The problem is...
Yeah, look, 10 had the benefit of PS2 technology, okay? Final Fantasy IX was squeezing everything out of the PlayStation 1, and it did a fantastic job. That game still looks good today.
The information from someone who decides to start a website or produce a YouTube video is not reliable. When I have a toothache,
No, Reggae Gangster, you're correct. Final Fantasy X-2 is the best video game, okay? The best video game. Final Fantasy X-2, better than Final Fantasy X, okay? No other video game has transed me harder than Final Fantasy X-2, okay? And also, Final Fantasy X-2 is basically just Final Fantasy 15, but with women, and that makes it better. And yeah. Final Fantasy X-2 is about 3 women going on a road trip to get cool outfits and get over their breakup. Get over one of their ex-boyfriends. It's so good. It's so good.
Dennis, when my car breaks down, I go to a mechanic. When you have questions about cosmology, you should go to an astrophysicist, you should go to a physicist, you should go to people who have spent years and years studying these ideas.
I mean, the thing is, these 3 flat earthers don't believe that, like, they don't believe in astrophysicists because they think that they're part of the conspiracy.
Some 6-minute YouTube video. There is a percentage of people that if they saw a YouTube video that was not within their scientific chops to refute on the face of it, would believe anything out there.
One of the things I will say is NASA.gov has their own documents out there that
Arka Sokaklar Riza Soilu? Thank you for the follow.
we get to vet, which is through the Freedom of Information Act. And would you agree that NASA documents, if they're on display, that we should be able to go and research inside there?
NASA is not proving that the Earth is flat.
Well, they say it in 14 of the
you
documents.
should read what NASA says, and you should listen to what NASA.
What is this? How are they lecturing literal scientists on how NASA has confirmed the world is flat? What? What? How is this real?
I would love to see your NASA evidence that the Earth is
It's
flat.
only their contradictory issues
Okay,
that
let's
bring
see.
us here.
We're all familiar with the Earthrise photo, right? The Earth is rising over the moon. We're all familiar with it. That's a NASA. You can go out to NASA's site. You can download the original, right?
I already know what you're going to ask.
So you bring up the luminance on it, and you can see where it's cut out and pasted there.
They're showing us doctored images that are clearly doctored. The blue marble is a very famous image from 1972. When you talk to the artist from NASA, his name is Robert Simmons, he talked.
No, they're saying that if you look at NASA's like files and you do things in Photoshop, like alter how bright the image is, that you can see the pixels, and that proves that the photos were faked. Oh gosh.
About exactly how it was created from data, and it's not a photograph whatsoever. He added clouds.
Let me explain.
He added
Hold
a
on.
highlight of the
If
sun.
you take, on your phone, most phones have that panoramic image. When you do that, you're taking a series of pictures, and the phone cleverly stitches
I'm
that
just
together.
saying how it's
Hold on.
presented. It's
Hold on.
presented as a real
So when
photograph.
NASA takes real photos and they either clean them up for color or they stitch them together so it's one large image, it doesn't mean they're CGI.
You're talking about composites. I'm what you call a globe denier. You could even get me into a virtual construct if I can't find the borders myself.
What shape would you say you think the Earth is?
It appears to me to be a stationary plane, as opposed to the vastness of infinity of space. I would find it to be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives there. These particular people have misled us on television. This is a
What? Wait, I need to look at his... You think we live in a fucking snow globe?
space. I would find it to be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives there. These.
Oh yeah, no, that is one of the best observations, Parkside Twan, of the Folding Ideas video on this. How many flat earther strains are there? I mean, flat earth is basically just a place to fall into if you're feeling conspiratorial and don't trust the government or whatever, but you don't have any good arguments.
Particular people have misled us on television. This is a brilliant opportunity to speak. We've been suppressed, censored by mainstream media. Alternative media is just a thing of beauty for me.
I view the other side as uneducated.
I'm running.
They think we are
I'm
uneducated.
running for this.
Well,
What? What? Oh my gosh, this is incredible.
they certainly think they're educated.
And they're following quite a bit of, the university system, what we call scientism,
Right, scientism.
obviously is the belief in what's written, where we tend to be exploring in the field with physical properties, not theories of any kind. We're using actual measurements that are calculated not by our guidelines, but the guidelines of science as we know it. I can only hope they're
Yeah, as you know it, that's kind of the issue, isn't it? Because you don't know what you're talking about.
uneducated as opposed to disingenuous.
Well, that's the other thing too, because we know that it was on a large scale, the government has been disingenuous, and they're pushing a narrative, right? So it's
Yeah, this is the heart of it, though. Right? This is the heart of it. It's not that the Earth is flat. That is a symptom. It's that you have been lied to. You live in this created bubble for nefarious purposes, and what those purposes might be, like, these people couldn't even begin to tell you.
hard for us. I mean, I'm sure that you've met people too. It's like, look, you haven't looked into it yet?
By the way, I would stipulate, sorry to be a pause Andrea here, I would stipulate that these people largely feel this way because of the atomization of society under capitalism. It's because they're being kept separate from other people. They're feeling a sense of a lack of control in their lives. They don't have a say in, like, their working conditions. They don't have the ability to connect with other people. And, like, I know it's kind of touche to say, or not cliche to say at this point, but, like, they don't have the ability to go out and touch grass with, like, other people. And these conspiracy communities are essentially one of their only outlets to connect with other people that they feel experience the same things that they do. Yeah, chat. Yeah, all right. Roast me over misspeaking again, okay? But this is really the heart of it. It's just that they redirect their alienation because they can't possibly wrap their heads around the issue of capitalism. They redirect the alienation to, oh, it's the government. It's, it's because the Earth is flat. That's why. Oh, okay. But Dracorath, have you touched grass with another human? 2 people touching grass? Amazing.
Or are you a shill? Are you part of a disinformation campaign?
I don't think you guys are uneducated. I think you're wrongly educated.
I think the problem with what I've seen in the flat earth crowd is that it's not that they're undereducated, but they...
No. Psychic Mouse, I'm not saying that the loneliness is a factor. I'm saying that the lack of control and separation that we experience as a result of capitalism disempowers these people to a point where they can't exert control. They don't have a say in their workplace. They don't have the ability to talk about their lives or, like, experience connection with others. And it is that disconnect between their ability to actually act in society and the purported benefits of capitalism. It has them confused, and they redirect that frustration instead of at the capitalist underpinnings of society, but instead at some secret conspiracy that is robbing them of that power,
Instead of looking at evidence and letting the evidence guide to where the ultimate conclusion is, they start with a conclusion, and then they try to cherry pick evidence to support their pre-drawn conclusion.
I guess another way of putting it would be the loneliness is the disempowerment, like, the loneliness is what allows them to be open to being controlled, right? or to fear being controlled. If you actually had agency, you wouldn't fear being controlled, right?
Conclusion, they cast away all the bits of evidence that actually is contrary to their belief system.
I think that you're very well educated as well as you are Jim. But
Certainly, Ali.
Sorry, I'm
is
struggling
the
at
best educated of
articulating
all of
myself.
us.
Exactly, and he paid for it too. But more and more professionals are coming on board. They're starting to question their reality. So the thing of it is once you start to really take a hard look at the evidence, and you are unafraid of just standing for the truth, wherever that may lead you, then people end up becoming flat earthers.
What are you hoping to get from the discussion today?
I'm hoping to be able to tell our side of the story from the inside out. So many times, flat earthers are depicted from the outside in, and I want to be able to share with others empirical data that proves the earth is not what we've been told.
I have changed my mind at some point about this topic.
So when I was 12 years old, I went to space camp, and I met Alan B. Shepard.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be the first woman to walk the moon.
Oh.
So for me, I'm a glober. I went into this completely wanting it to be true. And my husband told me, he saw this thing about the fake moon landing. And I was like, you're absolutely crazy. There's no way that the moon landings are fake. And then in 2010, my husband was killed. And so I never really developed that until around 2014 when Flat Earth kind of came back up.
Oh, this is really sad. Like, really sad. Like, she lost her partner, and, like, she found solace in these communities, you know? Like, that's... I don't know, that makes me want to cry, you know? Trauma does things to people. Yeah, people hurt. Yeah, I think we figured this one out.
And that little voice inside my head said, remember the fake moon landings? Remember when that was brought to my attention? And then I started really critically analyzing that. And I would say, just looking at that evidence, if they can lie about the moon landings, they can certainly lie about pictures and
There it is.
satellites and other things. And so I started going down that rabbit hole of studying. So that was my influence from
How
my
many
husband.
lies does it take to make a liar, right?
And being ridiculed for being inquisitive is pretty tough on us. I wouldn't say that I've changed my mind because my mind isn't set. NASA is solely designed to change my mind. It is, from its inception, from its discovery, has been a television program, it's been a space program to sell us on something that they've yet to actually show us. Show me a globe spinning with clouds and a moon, show me home, and I think I could shut up easily. I think I could shut up.
I literally think the only thing that would convince these people is, like, being able to go onto a space station and watch the planet spin. But then, even then, they'd probably just say it's, like, pictures projected on, like, a set that they've been put in. I don't know. Yeah, holograms. Holograms or, like, screens instead of windows.
The timing of your conversions is interesting to me. 20 years ago, the flat earth world was tiny and insignificant. Enter the advent of the internet, YouTube, online discussion groups, all these new available places where you could find information about everything.
This is true that the evidence as you looked were not robust evidence. And the sources you used, they were not reliable sources again. But my problem is that, and I like you guys that you are very skeptical, but at the same time, you are not skeptical about your belief system.
You
That
keep
should
going
have come
back.
first.
You think that that's my foundation for why I believe the earth is flat. And I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Okay.
I have evidence that proves it's flat.
What
or
type of
proves
evidence,
it's not
you know?
a ball.
What type
Curvature, I
of?
just-
We're being misled. We're being deliberately misled by mainstream
Now,
media.
what's your evidence?
Yeah, they want the evidence, not like what.
You're
We see
thinking?
too far. We see too far. We should not be able to see. I live in Dana Point.
Okay,
I can see San Clemente Island, which is 60 miles away.
so what?
What do you mean, so what?
No, I'm
It's
on the
1,100
beach. I'm
feet
on
tall.
the beach.
It is
What do you mean by
tall.
so what?
I'm on the
But-
beach.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Can you see a ship which is going?
We're
Oh
not
yeah,
talking
let's talk
that.
about the ship that goes
Yes,
over the curvature
okay.
of the earth. I love
So-
it. So science has said that when I see a ship go out of my field of view, it's going over the curvature of the earth, correct?
Yes.
But then I bring my P900 up, and guess what? I can zoom it back in.
Not
So
all
is
of
it
it,
going over the curvature of the
No,
earth
you
or
can't.
not?
You don't see all
Absolutely.
Oh,
the
not all the
No, you
time?
can't.
Not all the
No,
time?
no, you don't see all the ship. The bottom part of the ship
Yes.
is hidden by the
At
curvature.
that distance, you shouldn't see the top
At
of it
all.
either.
If the Earth were truly flat, there would be really hardly any limit. You'd be able to stand at the top of the Empire State Building and look towards Chicago, a mere 1,000 miles away, and see the lights of Chicago at night.
No,
Why
no,
wouldn't
because you have an atmospheric disturbance.
Very thick.
I've been
Water
into
alone.
astronomy since I was 10.
It's faulty logic. It's completely faulty logic.
What? The atmosphere wouldn't prevent you from. What? All right.
Let's reset, and then I have a more interesting.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
One of the big things I do is investigate extraordinary claims like flat eartherism or ESP or all sorts.
This guy seems really cool. I like him. I want to watch it like a documentary about him trying to find Mothman, okay? That's what I want. I want that more than anything.
Of different things. The Earth is undoubtedly a globe and not flat. This is well supported by
Serious Brad, I also wanted a hat like that for Boymound back when I was still doing that.
gobs of science.
Scientific consensus is possible.
Scientific consensus is possible.
What is the question?
I don't understand the question.
Scientific consensus is possible.
Oh no. Oh no. You don't even know what that means. This is painful.
Possible. Anything is possible. I mean, anything is possible. I've got a tremendous issue with consensus and peer review. I've been spending a lot of time arguing with people that argue the
Wait, consensus is literally how we advance our knowledge.
other side. And I found that surprisingly, consensus always wins. It was shocking to me that the group with the majority has an incredible advantage. As scientists,
Yeah, until you can present better evidence that can then be replicated by others.
flat earthers, true.
No, Reggae Gangster, flat earthers are sad, broken people. But I think we can learn something from their sadness and from their brokenness, you know? And hopefully, by learning something, we can both A, avoid the same fate for ourselves, and B, get some insight into society in general, you know?
Earthers, punks. We're at an incredible disadvantage.
Let's talk about scientific consensus for a second. You're never going to get 100% of anyone. There is scientific consensus on a global Earth. There's scientific consensus on evolution. A lot of big
They
issues.
use the word theory.
Do you know what a theory in science is? An extremely
And a fact
Let
is
me-
a fact.
Don't mistake this word theory.
You are,
In
not me.
science. It's not conjecture. It's not.
It's an explanation. Is by
It's
definition,
all-
it's
He doesn't know what a theory is. We have a theory of gravity, my dude. It's just that the scientific consensus agrees largely on how it functions, you know? Like, you can come up with other theories, they just have to be backed up by data. We don't have facts, you know? Facts are largely made up. The issue is we have theories. and we use the commonly understood or commonly accepted theories to better understand our world. And if we find better theories than that, we adopt those. That's typically how it's supposed to work. And we use those to figure out like facts, right? Or what we observe. I think X, therefore it is. Yeah, no, these people literally think that it's just a theory is just like an idea someone had that isn't backed up by anything. Theories have to be backed up by data. Yeah, facts are just data points. Essentially.
It's an explanation.
Supported
It's
in
a
definition.
deep,
Well, let's talk
So this
about a
is
fact.
something
Show me a
people
fact
made
then.
a mistake.
Why
They
aren't
think
all
theory
facts
is-
theories?
In science, the word theory is the highest level that you can give something because it's so well supported.
What about a fact?
That is a fact. It's
Not a
but-
fact you would call it a
You know
fact.
why? Do you know why? Because in science, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to find to tweak and find better information.
So that is how science works.
It gets better refined over time, as opposed to flat earth theory, which never gets refined. It simply is what it is.
New ideas have limited access to media and limited exposure. Until we're in us university curriculums, we will continue to appear.
Why would you be in university curriculums? You'd have to get university professors to actually have you to actually agree to teach your stuff, which you're not going to be able to do unless you have the evidence to back up your claims, and you don't.
Well, that's not true. In the history of science, we had many occasions that the ideas, it was not welcomed by the society. Einstein was one of them. Galileo was one of them. But if your theory is an authentic one, and it can go through this hardship of scientific method, eventually will win.
I used to believe that science was after the truth, right? We all just want to know what the truth is. Science has been trying so hard to divorce itself from the idea of a creator when God's intent was to create science to lead you to him. You know, sometimes things seem supernatural that we are able to explain later through, science. Okay, I understand. But there are other things as well that are supernatural, that go beyond the natural, that we can only explain through believing in a creator, right?
This is my big issue with science, scientific approach and non-scientific approach. You are absolutely right. In science, we are after the truth. And we are hoping by each day we're getting closer and closer to the truth. We never get there. Never.
Well, I know that's true for you. And
No, that's a science. That's you guys. You think you do have the truth. Now let's look at the evidences. As you were mentioning, you do have the conclusion. Let's find the evidences. Science doesn't work that way.
That's not
Well,
true.
that's not what
That
we-
is not
Well,
true.
you are saying
No.
you are referring to Jesus, whom many billions of people do not believe, including myself.
And many more billions do.
So what?
So who's right?
Of course I can.
Wait, more billions don't believe that. Wait, what are you talking about?
When you say that we start with a conclusion and then try to match everything to make it work, that to me is complete dishonesty. That is not true at all.
That is what you are doing
No,
right
you're
now.
not. You're making that assumption,
No,
which
it's
I
not
think
my
science does a
assumption.
lot of.
Well,
So do you
I-
make
I'm-
assumptions or
I'm-
not? Does
I
science make
don't know.
assumptions? Does science
No,
make
let me-
assumptions?
Yeah,
Of course.
sure.
Okay.
We do make assumptions
But-
based on things that are well supported and
Bias.
proven and reproven.
Bias.
We don't have
Show
to.
me how you isolate gravity. If gravity
We
is
don't
an
have to-
assumption, show me in the scientific method how you isolate.
Wait, is she trying to disprove gravity? I cannot. All right.
Gravity.
We've done that.
Good place to stop. Let's cool off
Yeah, sure.
and reset.
Wait, do flat earthers not believe in gravity? Wait, really? I didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
You're like a little round hard candy.
I just want to check in. How are you guys feeling? How is this discussion going?
I kind of feel like I want to develop some of this stuff a little bit more.
I would not want to continue this discussion.
It feels high level, but I feel like there's so much that I haven't really even touched base on.
Well, I mean, I certainly didn't think that anybody was going on either side was going to flip.
Well, there's still time.
There's still
Wait, they're moving up from what? They think weight keeps things from floating away? All right.
time. I have hope for you, Wendell, and Shelley. I don't know about Dan. I have hope for you too. But
No. I know that they think Earth is moving up. From what? What do they think is underneath the Earth? How thick do they think the Earth is? They're moving away from down.
you know, it's certainly. I'm glad it's a civil discussion. Certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Put your waters to the side, and let's do another round.
Hey, what did I say?
Good. He flipped! Wendell, welcome aboard. Welcome.
The greatest moment in television history, right there.
Good.
All right. NASA is trustworthy.
They were just referencing NASA data. All right.
So, I mean, obviously, any organization can be wrong with certain things, and they.
I mean, I guess it's just good that the Earth doesn't tip over and we all spill off.
They have individuals that lie or deceive or something, but as a general organization, they're looking for the truth.
Yeah, the idea that NASA and the government is lying to us about the shape of the Earth is the height of conspiracy theories. In order for this to be true, the literally hundreds of thousands of people who at some point over the last 50 or 60 years would...
Wait, what keeps all of the gases from spilling off of the Earth if it's moving up? Right? Like if it's moving up and weight is what's keeping it down, but it's the gases are in like a dome over the Earth. Wait, the ice wall keeps it from falling up? But wouldn't like the force of it going up like create an inverted dome that would then cause the gases to spill over the ice wall? All right. Nightcrawler Ash, thank you for the congratulations. We're still new to being partners, so it's only been a week. Thank you so much. They believe there's literally a bubble, like a magic glass dome, like how D&D space works. I don't know. I've played D&D in space before, and that is not how my space worked.
To be somewhat complicit in this, and nobody spills the beans at all, is on the face of it completely unbelievable.
The private does not know what the general is doing. There's compartmentalization happening all the time.
Of course.
So it wouldn't be that far-fetched. Has the government ever lied to us is really the question at stake.
We all agree on that.
But now we have NASA.gov, right? And absolutely, they're not lying about anything. They're completely transparent. Everything is true. We'd be foolish to
There's
think
a
that's
difference
true.
here. I'm sorry. This is a fallacy here. There is
Not
a
a fallacy.
I'm sure it is.
Go
See,
ahead.
you were talking about a government. Now you're talking about an agency of the government.
NASA.gov.
But this agency is scrutinized by thousands and thousands of scientists around the globe. You are dealing with smart people, believe me. You are dealing with smart people.
I don't deny that.
So it is very hard to do that. Once or twice, maybe. Not for the all time.
Raise your hand if you think we went to the moon.
What is the proof? hundreds and hundreds of pounds of moon rocks and dust. And we have distributed those freely to PhD scientists around the world. And not one of those geologists has said, what is this?
Been
This is
proven to
some-
be fake.
And also and collected on the ice in Antarctica and
Yeah,
in the Arctic as
absolutely.
well. Those are collected. You don't have to go to the moon to get moon rocks. As a matter of
What?
fact, all U.S. Air Force photography prior to 1958 shows a flat Earth. Only NASA shows
That's
a
not
sphere.
true.
That's
That is absolutely not
true,
true.
Jim. I wouldn't lie to you.
And the other
NASA's lying to you, my friend.
The other bit of proof
Not myself.
is we have a laser retroreflector on the moon.
Yeah.
That we're using
So,
now.
We still use to this day.
It's sitting there.
You can find to the inch how far away the moon
No
is.
pictures of home.
That only is there. By the
No,
way,
there are not.
My question to you is, why? Why would all these honest, hardworking people perpetuate this massive fraud? Why would they do this?
What's the benefit of doing
Okay,
that?
the benefit of it. They make $52 million a day. Follow the money.
No, the little
Follow
guy.
the money.
The little guy.
That's what, then when you say all, okay?
But it didn't start out that way. And NASA was not founded to prove the Earth
They
was.
make $52 million per day doing what? Doing what? Wait. They make almost $19 billion a year? Who's taking that home? The United States budget is literally trillions of dollars. Billionaires alone don't pay 20% of their taxes, and that leads to like a loss of like $175 billion every year. Like the amount of conspiracy around this would cost way more than $19 billion to keep up.
Was a globe. It had nothing to do with the way they were founded.
Well, if you go and study
Are you sure?
Yeah, positive.
Really?
Yes. Somebody has to be a voice for reason, and somebody has to be a voice for truth. It would be a fantasy to believe that I would change anybody's mind from the other three. However, if there's somebody sitting on the fence, and this is the first introduction to this debate, perhaps they'll hear the reasonable voice and say, yeah, that makes more sense than having this pizza-shaped Earth.
I can put myself in the mindset of the other side.
At least the scientists are honest. Like,
I
no.
used to be a ball earther. Everything you say right now is completely what I used to agree to. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
For me, I think the correct way to do any kind of investigation or to examine things is by literally putting yourself in that mindset of the other person. So I do that. I disagree with your position, but I completely understand from your perspective what you're saying.
The trouble I have
We're all ballers in chat, okay?
understanding your perspective is, in the modern world, unless you live in a cave somewhere, you have to believe in science implicitly. I met a flat earther, a young woman who said, I don't trust anything that science does. And that's a problem because human beings can't replicate the whole body of science every single generation. At some point, you have to trust what's already been discovered and proven and move on to the next thing. Otherwise, we're not going to advance at all. I mean, when you turn that key ignition in your car, you expect the car to start out.
And not blow up.
And not blow up, because science puts you in that position. So it's really hard to understand how people would know in their hearts that science achieves wonderful things and then just jumping ship when it comes to this other issue.
We're not drawing conclusions. We understand the mechanisms that made that car work. There is no theories and no disputed conclusions involved there. It's not a good analogy. Can I admit a great compromise that we have to experience being against the grain people? Is we have to literally sit in a group and decide whether or not we can afford to have an opinion. And that's tough.
No, the comparison he was making is that you believe science on all these other issues, but you don't on this one. And you don't have good evidence for it that's backed up by any reputable scientist.
I agree with you there because we're the same thing. I mean, I think skeptics go through this and atheists go through this. I don't believe in God. When I'm around religious people, I take a chance socially when I tell them I'm an atheist. So I know it takes some courage to follow your beliefs, and I appreciate that. But I think I've done a lot of research in that venue too. And it's not something I choose to believe in, it's something I have to believe in based on the evidence.
See, what I get from you guys is that seeing is believing. So how come you believe in God or Jesus? You haven't seen neither of them, right?
I've seen evidence, though.
Well, exactly. So we are looking for evidence. There are many, many other evidences for Earth not being flat. My point is that these experiments clearly show that the Earth is globe. And you don't need to go outside the globe to see it's globe.
Yo, Revolver Josh a lot. First off, thank you for the follow, and second off, thank you for having one of the best usernames I've ever had the pleasure of seeing on twitch.tv.
It's a
You
theoretical...
told me you want the evidence. If you're
That's
saying
not-
that you look only to see something, then I dispute your belief system in God and Jesus or Jehovah or Buddha or Zarathustra or anyone.
You keep going back to religion as being
Because
our
it's coming
conclusion.
from there.
No,
You think
no,
you do
no.
have the
I
truth.
have
You do.
evidence.
She just-
I have evidence.
You
for
quoted
what I
at the
know.
beginning
She
of
pointed out
this.
physics.
You
I
quoted
agree.
Bible.
Of
That's
course
the
I did, but
reason.
that is not the only reason I know what the shape of the Earth is, and you keep,
Well-
that's fallacy.
It's not fallacy.
It is a
Actually,
fallacy.
it is not fallacy.
It is a fallacy.
I'm a theoretical physicist. What I'm doing is the combination of string theory and
Aw, Darth Gently, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it as like a... I didn't mean it as a dunk.
cosmology, so we try to understand what happened during the Big Bang, after the Big Bang, or even before the Big Bang.
What are we hoping to get from the discussion today?
Well, I hope
Yeah, no capitalism means I get everyone's computers to give them up.
I would be able, particularly to the young generation, to convince them that first, they should think critically and don't believe anything. They shouldn't take anything for granted. Look at the evidences and examine those evidences and throw away those claims that are not evidence-based.
Oh my gosh, they have one. Oh my gosh, they have a flat Earth globe.
Science, not to put it down, but when you're talking about rocket science, this is very difficult for the majority of people to understand, and it's designed that way. And so, in a lot of ways...
Wait, do you believe that rockets are real? Wait. Do you believe that rockets are real? Does that saying it's not rocket science not make sense to you because you don't think they're real?
Hiding behind rocket science is similar to religion. If you look at the Catholic Church back in the days, only we can interpret the Bible. You have to listen to what we say. So in a lot of ways, we're getting that same notion from science that says, only we can interpret what these numbers are. You just need to trust us. But then when we actually do go...
The science refers to as the scientific method. They're just using the scientific method. What? You can also interpret it. Just use the scientific method. But you're not going to find different results. You can go and learn rocket science. I mean, I guess. Rockets a lie by big rocket science to sell big engines. Oh gosh.
and test some of their equations and they don't work. Does that beg the question for us to go and test it ourselves? Absolutely.
I would say, one great thing about science is its predictability. Let's for some moment, for a short moment, assume that your model, this flat earth model, is correct. I don't know, what does it buy for us? What does it predict for us? So my question for you guys would be, next time, bring me something from your theory, your model, that you can predict something which the globe Earth model cannot predict. Then I would change my mind.
I would just say that don't believe anything that I've said. You got to do your own research. And I think what you'll find is that
Just watch these 250 YouTube videos that are all 17 hours long of a man ranting about airplane paths. I watched them and it turned my brain to goo. And that's how I can believe in this.
you'll see that a puzzle piece doesn't fit. And the only way you're going to do that is if you put your own eyeballs on it.
I don't blame people for being skeptical. I'm skeptical about a lot of different things. I applaud that instinct in you. But you have to go beyond just not believing in something. Ask the hard questions. Ask what qualifies a YouTuber, a book author, anywhere else you're getting this information. What qualifies them to make wide-ranging comments about the shape of the Earth? Look, anybody who can.
Can your flat Earth can your flat Earth predict D's? Okay, that's what we really want to know. Can your flat Earth predict D's?
Overturn Einstein or some major theory is going to be eventually written in the halls of science for the rest of their lives. But they have to come up with the goods. They have to show good science-based evidence that what they say is true, and they have to withstand the test
D's nuts.
of time and peer review and the rigors of the scientific method.
All right. Thank you. I'm all sweaty.
Ollie, it was nice to meet you.
Almost neighbor.
Very nice to meet you.
Hey, I want to get you a copy of my novel. Oh, good job. And,
Hey, good job to you.
Thank you.
He has a fucking novel. He has a novel. Oh my gosh. Chat, transphobia.